I'm Emily Markle LaFauci, and I teach English at Oakdale High School in Allen Parish. I am passionate about creating an inclusive learning environment that provides equal opportunities for all students to develop a love for reading and show growth in literacy. I strive daily to foster a love for reading in my students by allowing them to select their choice of reading to compete with my other classes using the PBIS reward system for the class that reads the most books each semester. I also challenge my students to become critical thinkers by allowing them to grapple with complex texts in order to unpack and make meaning of them. I provide additional support for students who are having difficulty by conducting small groups in which I model my thought process of how to analyze, annotate, and interpret complex text. My overall goal is to provide a safe space for my students to develop critical thinking skills that they can utilize well into adulthood. The students in this video are primarily sophomores and will be engaging in discussion from the musical Hamilton, which is the second guidebook unit of the English 2 Learn Zillion curriculum for Louisiana. The students featured in the video are a diverse group of students, both demographically and academically. The objective for this lesson is to read excerpts from 2 primary sources to discuss the reality of women during the time period. Due to a variety of learning needs and styles, I have provided support for students with special learning needs, such as text-to-speech and scaffolding through students working together in small groups. I'm excited to share my students' learning experience with you and welcome you into my classroom.
They're from the Declaration of Independence, a historical article. And
they couldn't talk, like their husbands talk all the time, so they probably like use that line, so like
show that. What is the deal with these lines show right here?
yeah.
She's strong-willed and like she's very is elevated, which is very uncommon for women in that time period. And her learning from the Declaration of Independence just show her intellectual capabilities.
And what is the fact that she quoted from the Declaration of Independence? What is that another word for as in a reference?
It's called an illusion.
It's called an allusion. So could you elaborate on that a little bit more? What is an allusion?
Reference from something from literature, history, art, or media.
Great. So does everyone see when she says, listen to my declaration? The declaration is a bold word, and she's indicating that she's going to stand up to Thomas Jefferson, which, like you said, and I heard your conversation, that was bold for women during that time period. So what was your question?
John Adams feel like that's because my class has one of you, they feel like they're really big
And by the way, in the new code of law, which I propose now,
She's trying to tell them
Oh yeah, she did.
that to remember the ladies and to give them.
Okay, so Josh, I heard, what did she say to threaten him? Can you refer back to the text for me? You guys can help Josh.
So basically, it just says particular care and attention will not be places where determined to rebellion will not hold themselves bound by any law. So basically, she's just threatening starting up right.
Yeah, and they will not hold themselves bound to any law that does not include women, meaning we will not obey any law that does not give women equal rights. Okay, what evidence from the text shows that she is unhappy? That's accurate evidence. Yeah, why did you say in public at least? So like you said that. Where is that reference in one of the letters?
yeah, I think that's
From John Owens, he says that the women are really the masters in their own home.
Yes, okay, good.
and with that,
Exactly.
Like in that time period, men were felt that their masculinity was like, you know, their masculinity made them naturally submit to the women, like they were strong.
Okay guys, let's go ahead and check for understanding because we're midway through the lesson. So I need a volunteer, please, to volunteer to read our question. Zakira.
Given what you know about the role of women and their rights and opportunities during this time period, why might Abigail Adams have said that men are naturally tyrannical?
Okay, great, thank you. So I'm going to give everyone a second to turn and talk with their group. I'm going to give you about a minute, and you're going to turn and talk and be looking for evidence within the primary source, which are the letters. Be looking for evidence to support why Abigail Adams believes that men are naturally tyrannical. Then we'll come back together as a whole class and we will share our answer.
Said men are naturally tyrannical because the law essentially favors men, which puts them in a position of power like a tyrant. And according to the primary source here, it says that your sex are naturally tyrannical is a truth so thoroughly established as to admit of no dispute. It also says, men of sense in all ages abhor these customs which treat us only as vassals of your sex.
Abigail Adams stands that men are tyrannical. Would you be able to defend that position?
I would, because in that time period, women weren't really people, they were objects and possessions, people that they were.
Everything they had, the men would take, like their money, and when they get married, it goes to the men.
Yeah, whatever wealth they had went to their husband. Good job. So I like that you were able to answer the question and then find textual evidence and relate back to history to support. Back together, we're going to answer our question to make sure everyone is meeting the lesson's objective. And so our question was, given what you know about the rights and opportunities of women in the time period, why would Abigail Adams believe that men are naturally tyrannical? So can I have a volunteer to answer this question? Okay, so Anshul.
I said Abigail Adams said that men are naturally tyrannical because men, they essentially own their wives, and that put them in a position of power just like a tyrant would to their people. And a quote from the primary source is that your sex are naturally tyrannical is a truth so thoroughly established as to admit of no dispute.
Okay, beautiful. I like that you said that. I like that you related back to the text. And did everyone else have something similar in their group? Because if you heard something different, this is the correct answer, and you can reevaluate your response at this time.
That are speaking out about it and saying, hey,
When men were so big and strong and strong, if you were other women,
No, that was her master, so she was going to take a big step. And then Angelica, she referred to the Code of Laws, which was the Declaration of Independence in her song, and she was like, no, you shouldn't be self-evident. But she was referring to the Declaration of Independence.
Okay, so guys, can y'all tell me what life would be like for white wealthy women in this time period?
Well, I would say white women, since they're women, the law did not favor them at all, which basically made them no rights. Even though they were white and wealthy, they still weren't in a position of power because of their genetics.
Okay, so it would be denied throughout the movement. I'm not throwing away my shot. Consider what we learned about Abigail Adams and Angelica Scott. In what ways does this line apply to each one?
Okay, guys, so we talked about the line, I'm not throwing away my shot. What meaning does that line have to you?
Not throwing away his opportunity.
His opportunity or his chance. That's essentially what my shot means. So take a second to think about how both of these women took a chance, they took a shot, and be able to identify what that shot was.
They took a shot to try and give him a try.
Yeah, and she used that bold word, listen to my declaration, and then she quoted from the Declaration of Independence, which showed that she had a lot of knowledge about politics, but also she was bold enough to speak up to a man in power. Okay, now how did Abigail Adams take her chance or her shot? And Chloe, in what ways did she stand up to John Adams?
saying that if basically if he consider the freedom that she was going to do.
She was start a rebellion, exactly. And so, do you agree with Abigail Adams' stance? So you'd be able to defend her. Do you guys agree with John Adams' response to his wife Abigail regarding her advocating for women's rights? Okay, why not?
Well, I think that he mentions in the second paragraph that they aren't the masters. He turns it around and switches it and says that instead the women are the masters and not him. It's only on paper that
Yeah.
they will be the masters. And they have free will in the house. And this isn't correct with all the past and how they all their money and what went to their husband's name.
Well, what about, do you agree with his line at the very beginning of the text where he says, "As to your extraordinary code of laws, I cannot help but laugh"? What is your opinion of that line in response to his wife?
Mocking his wife and thinks that the idea of women having rights is laughable. Because
I agree, he is definitely mocking this act.
and that's not okay. he should take into seriousness her concerns.
Take it into consideration, her concern.
And also the threat she made at the in her first paragraph.
And that was very bold, because we were just talking to that other group in Bradley's group about how bold that was for Angelica to stand up to someone like Thomas Jefferson in a position of power, and to also stand up, Abigail Adams stood up to her husband.
Yeah, and they talk about, a revolution, and that's really, really bold.
It's very revolutionary.
Yes.
So what similarities did you guys find between Abigail and Angelica?
They're both educated, high in society.
And they both saw their opportunity to succeed.
And can y'all explore why, even though they did take a chance, why their efforts were not successful? Okay, and what evidence can you find in the text that shows that men did not take women seriously?
John Adams said, "I cannot help but laugh."
I cannot help but laugh.
Laughs at her. And whenever she talks about how she was a rebellion after the American Revolution with all the women, he says that that's still not important. And even though that might seem crazy, having such a woman come along, it still is not as important.
To ensure that the lesson's objectives were met, I took anecdotal notes, monitored students' engagement, and asked specific guiding questions that required students to make connection between secondary and primary sources. I also gave an exit ticket to students that measured their understanding of the lesson objectives. Lastly, students will write an essay that explores the reality of the time period for white, wealthy women.